Top 10 anime
2024's
for
barely just begun,
2024.
and we have a lot of action anime in our sights. Stuff that you might enjoy whether you're a new fan looking for something new to watch or someone eagerly waiting for sequels to your favourite titles. So let's not waste any more time and go check out some of the most anticipated action anime that's yet to air. We start this countdown with a journey into the world of magic, Wistoria's Wand and Sword.
至高の布陣で送るハイファンタジーアクション始まる
Will
Okay.
Surford has huge dreams, chief amongst them becoming a Magi of Vanda, a mighty magician seated atop the wizard's tower. Unfortunately, it's something easier said than done, especially for him who's unable to cast even the simplest of spells. To add to his lack of affinity for magic, there's also a whole slew of dungeon monsters he can't overcome,
It's
as
gonna
well
be
as a
like
professor
the
who seems to have it out for him. How
solo
will our
leveling kinda
protagonist
concept.
overcome this ordeal? Wistoria's Wand and
From
Sword
zero to
synopsis
hero.
puts us in a world that we're pretty much familiar with, an underdog story featuring someone inept in the conventional manner before finding a way to overcome it. It's quite the tried and true story, and I'm sure people who enjoyed Black Clover and Mashal will find a lot to like about this promising new title. After all, the real excitement
Looks
comes
kinda
from the
similar to them.
protagonist finding his niche and making people acknowledge him. Nier Automata Part 2 is next in line at number 9.
Okay.
海を空を大地をおぞましき機械生命体に奪われた地球を取り戻す
Now, if you're to ask me, the Nier anime project has had its share of challenges. Those who were
Yeah.
around when it was airing might remember the insane delays it had and the story of its generally troubled production. Couple that with a game that excels so much in areas that the anime medium may find hard to adapt, and you've got quite the tall task ahead for the anime team. Nier as an anime may not be as strong of an experience as the game itself if the first episode is an indication, but I've got to admit, it's done more than decently for itself as an anime, patching things up while coming at us with its own twists and finishing the part a lot better than the people would have expected given the rough start. The team have managed to pull through for the most part, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have in store
It's
for
a
us
cool
come
concept,
part
though,
2.
for the
I'm sure
anime.
I'm
I like
excited
it.
to see how the anime adapts the
Very
rest
cool
of the story,
concept.
and as a spoiler I guess, the possible alternative endings that the series has in store for us. 8th is the Isekai Suicide Squad.
Oh! Yo, I'm actually kind of hyped for that. I'm actually kind of hyped for that. Not kinda. I'm very hyped
DC
for
Comics
this.
hopping into the
to
Isekai
see how
trade
it
was a
will work,
surprise
you know?
back when it was announced, and every now and then I still raise some eyebrows thinking about it. It's not the first rodeo for Western comics crossing over with the world of anime, but instead of just giving us a conventional Suicide Squad anime like they
'Cause I
did
feel
with
like
the
this
other
one
comic
might
titles
work.
before, they decided to send this team of villainous misfits into the world of magic and dragons. This just has all the ingredients to be a train wreck, and I'm saying that from a
Yeah.
positive perspective. It can be a glorious, over-the-top train wreck
man,
that's super
it could be
entertaining,
good.
and I think that basically embodies the heart of something like Suicide Squad. With the Isekai setting opening up the possibility for a lot of comedy and insanity, this is certainly a title to look out for this 2024. At number 7 is Rurouni Kenshin Kyoto Arc.
使用誠でござるか
君ぐらいつけろよ無礼な先輩だな
Dude, old fans will love this.
The return of Rurouni Kenshin has contextually been a success story. While it may not have found as much of a footing as its 90s version had considering how much competition the anime world has these days, those who watch this new version can tell it's one of the good remakes of a classic favourite. It recaptured some of the great moments while giving them a slightly new flavour to please most older fans who had this as their childhood anime, and the Kyoto arc is finally here. Regarded as the best arc the series has had, the Kyoto arc is the arc that introduced the world to some of Rurouni Kenshin's most iconic villains and moments. It's the arc that, back in the day, allowed the series to soar to new heights for a shonen series, to the
Okay,
point
so it's
where
like
some
the top
consider
arc,
it
huh?
to be one of the best arcs
Okay.
a Jump series has had alongside bangers
Honestly,
like
I haven't seen
Chimera
the-
Ant arc in Hunter x
any
Hunter.
of
I'm
it,
super
so-
excited to see where Linden Films will go with their version of this arc, but I can just say that even if it's just halfway competent in adaptation, the season is going to be a great watch.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Daima closes out the first half of this list.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Now, this is quite the interesting anime to look at. When a new Dragon Ball series got announced, I didn't
This is
expect it to
interesting.
take the form of a show featuring kid versions of the characters we've all grown up to love. To add to
Yeah.
that, it is, in fact, a canon spin-off tied to the story of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. To say the fandom's initial reaction to this was polarizing would be an understatement, with it being called the GT of this generation. Not much is known about the context of this season,
Yeah.
but it's reportedly been inspired by Dragon Quest and Blue Dragon, and while it's aimed at a younger audience, we still get our dose of dramatic moments and things may be unpredictable as of this moment, but I'm positive with the team working overtime on this one, Daima can be a great new frontier in Dragon Ball's decade of resurgence.
I don't think it's gonna be like top
and
tier,
that's half
you know,
of the list
but
done. Before we proceed, I'd like to ask for a like and a subscribe if you haven't done so
feel like it
already.
has a
Those
maybe
interactions
chance.
go a long way in
know.
helping the video do well, and it also tells me you like this kind of content. Thanks. Fate Strange Fake is the number 5 entry.
英雄も召喚されてる。どうやらこの戦、俺が本気になるべき価値となったようだ。何？退
Is it
屈
one
は
of
させん。
the Fate series,
After a
right?
period of relative silence for the Fate franchise as far as series-length anime go, it's time for it to make its return with Fate Strange Fake. Fans of the Fate franchise will know this entry as an April Fool's joke turned real, revolving around a copy of the third
Okay.
Fuyuki Grail War, years before the one most fans are familiar with.
Interesting.
However, things go wrong as expected, and the mages end with a Grail War that lost the Saber class and some rather less sane participants due to the blurry definition of hero. Ain't that an entertaining disaster? Fate Strange Fake already
What the
had
hell
an
is
anime
that
special
pet
that you
waving?
better go check out. It beautifully sets up the whole fake Grail War, and as is with tradition, it helps first-time viewers at least get up to speed with the context of the series, something they've also done with Babylonia and Unlimited Blade Works. I'm on board with more Fate, so I hope they announce a release date for this one soon. Fourth is Tower of God,
Tower of
second
God.
season.
It's actually getting second season. Okay. Well, yeah, to be expected, right? Man, Tower of God
This
pretty
was
big.
one thing that surprised me. When Tower of God made its way into the anime format back in 2020, one thing that I've often said is that the whole thing felt like an appetizer. It's not awful or anything like that, no, nothing close to it, but it really felt that there was so much more in Bum's journey that made it one of the most beloved web manga out there, and one season was just too little to cover the actual juicy parts. The prospect of a second season back then did seem grim, and all we got was some leaks every now and then. Well, it's finally been confirmed, and it appears that the higher-ups have heard the fans' prayers. Tower of God will indeed be returning for a second season to cover a part that source material readers have generally liked a lot more. Still, the sentiment is that this second season will likely be rushed to get to the good parts. Whatever approach the anime team will decide to go for, this season is something to look out for. Will this be the season that justifies the whole hype behind Tower of God, or will it be the one to bury it for good? As we open the top 3, we start with, fittingly, the third season of One Punch Man.
だから個々の生物
Bro,
は
it's gonna be
生存
massive.
目的や理性を失わない
It's gonna
範
be
囲
so
内でし
good.
か成長できないように神に設計されている。
It's been a journey of ups and downs for One Punch Man. It started out with a bang, becoming one of the most monumental anime of the 2010s before all that hype seemed to disappear. And I don't even think the second season is that bad when looked at in its own right. It's just quite a step down from what people had come to expect from the amazing first season, most notably the visuals. That and JC Staff 2019, featuring the likes of the Mom Isekai and the Rush jobs that are the third seasons of Index and Date Alive is, lackluster to say the least. Now they have a chance to redeem themselves with the third season of One Punch Man. Getting the announcement of a third season with the same guys who brought us the second was a surprise in itself, but let's see if they manage to pull it off this time. No airing date has been confirmed, but we can probably expect this third season to hit the screens within a year or so. Second is the third part of Bleach, 1000 Year Blood War.
Okay. Dude, Bleach has just been killing it, like, honestly.
I've always had nothing but praise for Bleach's 1000 Year Blood War as one of the most successful and impactful revivals of a long dormant series. It was such a step up from the 2000s Bleach and improved on what's been an arc with divisive reception in manga form.
Wait, the last
Admittedly, though,
Bleach was in the
second part
2000s?
had a slightly less
Like
stellar
early
reception
2000s?
than the first. While the fights, as well as newly revealed abilities, are visually spectacular and a lot of the supposed gaps in the manga plot had been addressed, it really did feel like an in-between season, a sort of filler that had its share of revelations, but ended before it can get to the big status quo changing moments. Fans don't have to wait too long for the next part though. The middle of this year is when they get to see the aftermath of the huge cliffhangers from part 2, as well as see the return of
They
some
always
more
leave you on
fan
a
favourites.
cliffhanger,
I also
huh?
can't wait to see what lore the team can integrate, continuing the trend of making this anime the definitive way of enjoying the 1000 Year Blood War arc. Wrapping everything off at number 1 is Dandadan.
Dandadan. Wait, that kind of looks like Mob Psycho a little bit. Is it the same
How about
studio?
finishing things off with a non-sequel? Dandadan is looking to be the next breakout hit in the world of action anime.
Okay.
Starting off with a usual urban fantasy
Wait,
setting
why
before
haven't I...
quickly
Chat,
diving off
why has no one told me about that? Here I am being excited for a known second season or like non sequel or anything. I was excited for, what was it? Not the Dragon Ball. the Suicide Squad. I was like, oh yeah, okay, next season I can watch the Suicide Squad. Why did no one tell me about this?
Into the deep end with the surreal and crazy. You got a lot of random stuff getting thrown at you, aliens, ghosts, monsters, and all the crazy phenomena being thrown at you in some manner are what represents this series. It's that kind of unbridled chaos which becomes this title's claim to fame, and the unpredictable madness is something that you just have to witness for yourself to know what to make of it. Still, we've seen how well that kind of madness can work, as seen with the success of things like Dorohedoro and Chainsaw Man, the latter of which has some author connection with Dandadan. It's time for a new contender to join their ranks, and it's one of the extremely promising hits set to come out in 2024. Will it be the mainstream anime of the year? While I don't think it's going to reach Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen levels, I have some high expectations for Dandadan's breakthrough.
I'm going to be watching that. Chat. That's going to be on the list, right, for next season.